see, bro. We gonna see, man. We gonna see how this quality gonna work, man. Mm, 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 mm. We gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see. What's up, gang? We gonna see how this quality gonna work. We gonna see how it's gonna work. Gonna work. Gonna work. What's going on, gang? Hope everybody doing well. Hope everybody doing well. Tap that screen on your way in, man. Tap that screen on your way in. Tap that screen on your way in, man. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's up, Connor? What's up, brother? How's it going? What's going on, man? Connor in the building, man. Hit that like button on the way in, man. Gonna give everybody a chance to get in. Good morning to you, Connor. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Now we just gotta hope that my connection can stay stable. That's what we gotta hope for. So we gonna go ahead and get started, man. Give everybody a chance to get in here, man. Hit that like button. Good morning, my friend. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Happy President's Day. Today is President's Day. Happy President's Day. But not to Donald J, because it ain't about Donald J. And that's what we about to start the segment off with today. We're gonna start the segment off with uh, Happy President's Day. But Washington does not look like it's celebrating, y'all. Washington do not look like it's celebrating. The Epstein files are fully released. That's what we're talking about today. The Nancy Guthrie update, we're going to get into that as well. The government shut down, partially shut down. We're talking about that. And Pam Bondi is still catching some heat. She's still catching flack right now. She is still catching flack. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this quick segment really quick in regards to President's Day. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go right here.
After winning the war, Washington did what victorious leaders rarely did at the time. He voluntarily gave up power. Many would have gladly made George Washington the king of America. Yet all he wanted to do was return here to Mount Vernon and to be with his loving wife, Martha.
That was former President George W. Bush in 2007, marking President's Day with a visit to Mount Vernon, Virginia, the home of the country's first president, George Washington. Banks, post offices, government offices, public schools, and the stock market will all be closed in honor of President's Day, which is today. It's also the perfect excuse for us to talk more about why we celebrate this day in the first place with presidential historian and executive director of the George Washington Presidential Library, Lindsay Chervinsky. You know the Mount Vernon area where the president was speaking quite well. You've also
Damn, she had a smile on her. She had, she had a smile on her, y'all. She had a smile on her. But we're gonna do a quick segment on President's Day 2026, and then we're gonna move on and talk about other things. But tap that screen on the way in, y'all. Tap that screen. Thank you for being here. Matter of fact, let me tap that screen. Go ahead and tap that screen. Thank you guys for being here. We're gonna continue the segment right here.
given me great tours of it. It's beautiful. Everyone should go. But let's talk a little bit about the history of this day and why we celebrate it in the first place, because there's remembering presidents and then there's the larger shadow that they cast over this country, both now and when we look back at them, right? So talk to us about why this day matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the holiday actually started really early on when people were celebrating Washington's life while he was still alive. So
Weird.
it is a little bit odd. And when, I think he probably felt it was a little weird too. He attended a couple of birthday balls at Gadsby's Tavern just across the river in Alexandria. And
Oh, there's a nice little history of President's Day, signed into law in 1879 to honor President George Washington, was initially called Washington's Birthday. Wow. Holiday initially only applied to federal workers in Washington, D.C. Uh, extended to federal employees nationwide in 1885. And it became popular, known as President's Day in 1971 after passage of the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. Hmm, interesting. There's a little history for y'all today. A little history of President's Day.
There was certainly a sense that this was a remarkable person that deserved to be celebrated, but there were already questions in the 1790s about when do you celebrate.
Yo, Connor, did you know all of that information right there, Connor? I would like that. I know you probably did, being that you are the history guy. Being that you're the history guy, I figured you probably knew all of that information right there, Connor. Let me know.
The office and when do you celebrate the person? Now, the celebrations for Washington continued, and after the Civil War, people started to ask, well, should we add a Lincoln to this list? Because he, of course, was a remarkable president. But the holiday that was created legally in 1885 for the nation is actually Washington's birthday. It's not about all of the presidents. We've just kind of lumped them in there. And that's largely actually an advertising ploy to get people to buy stuff for President's Day.
Right. Not that we need any excuse for the sale. But at the same time, when you talk about separating the office from the presidency, I mean, or rather the office from the person, it does feel like those things are so mushed right now in the public consciousness because of the way that Trump himself has sort of refashioned the presidency and the role of a president within it. I think that's a fascinating thing for us to reflect on as we head into a day like today. But then also the way that you and I have talked about this over the years. I mean, last year we were saying, rather you were, that this day is a little bit silly. I think it got taken way out of context. But as you reflect on it now, what do you see in the importance or not of celebrating President's Day?
Well, I think it's interesting the clip you started with, George W. Bush. He's at Mount Vernon. Obviously, we agree that everyone should go to Mount Vernon on President's Day.
Duh.
It is free today, so anyone who wants to come, please do come visit us. And that makes sense to me, to celebrate great presidents, to celebrate Washington, to celebrate Lincoln, to celebrate Theodore Roosevelt and Dwight Eisenhower. Yeah. These men did amazing things, and those amazing things deserve to be remembered. But Millard Fillmore, John Tyler, James Buchanan, these are not the Washingtons and the Lincolns. And so I think today is a really great opportunity to think about, where has the presidency, where did it start? Where has it gone? How has it evolved? And where do we as citizens want it to go? Because it's the only office that represents all Americans, and therefore we have a say in what we want it to be and how we want it to represent us.
You're also talking about some of the greatest people to get elected, and not all of them can be the greatest of the greatest, right? We have a certain few that occupy that space. And this is now coming on the 250th anniversary of our country. You and I talk a lot about the various parallels and things that are important as we reflect on that moment. Does that make this President's Day interesting, different, new to you?
Well, I think it's a good reminder of, how long we have been a nation. And in this moment, as we're thinking about those celebrations, as we're thinking about those anniversaries, they're not by accident. Yeah. They take generations after generations of commitment to upholding the republic, to upholding our institutions, and recommitting to this glorious experiment. And so I think the great men that we have celebrated are ones that were committed to that experiment. And it's maybe a charge to us to recommit ourselves today.
To commit ourselves really to the moral underpinnings.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't think we'll ever commend, or I don't think we'll ever celebrate Donald Trump in this President's Day legacy 20 years, 30 years down the line. I just don't think we will. When you talk about what he's done in terms of just dividing the United States so far already in his second term, he's only a year in, and the country has never been so divided already. And there's just a lot of stuff happening already in 2026. So I don't think we'll ever be celebrating him on this particular day moving forward. But we got about 30 more seconds of this video, and then we're gonna move on. We will move on. Hello, good morning, Danny, checking in from
and
DC.
the great ideas that underpin this great country. Presidential historian and executive director of the George Washington Presidential Library, truly one of the best. Dr. Lindsay Chervinsky, thank you for coming on.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Emma, how you doing? Great to see you too, Danny. Emma, a long time no see. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Long time no see. How you doing? How are you? So see what we're gonna get into next on this one right here. Uh, I guess we're just gonna go ahead and get into the Nancy Guthrie situation. That's what we're gonna move in. But I wanted to touch the President's Day first, um, to let everybody know that it was originally called Washington's Day. That's a little history right there. We started in 1885, and so you can go back and watch that segment just to get a little history on President's Day. But today is President's Day, and it's not Donald Trump's day, so don't get it confused. It's not Donald Trump's day. So, yes, I'm doing well, Emma. Happy President's Day. Only 4 living elected presidents left. That's the problem with older candidates. Shout out to Everett. Trump, not president. What a joke. Alrighty. All right, let's move on. We're gonna go ahead and get into the Nancy Guthrie situation. Get some updates on that. Uh, so here, News Nation put out something last night.
Tonight, a haunting image in the middle of the night.
She says, "I'm good, babe. Thank you. Kids on half term, so busy, busy, but glad I caught you. It's good to see you. Your lovely self. Thank you, Emma. I'm so glad everything is going well, Emma. It's good to see you again as well. Glad to know everything is going well."
Do believe that Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
An 84-year-old woman seemingly kidnapped from her home.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
An investigation with so many twists and turns, ransom notes, surveillance cameras, massive searches in the Catalina foothills.
People could be walking up and down that road, and they're not going to see us.
There's a trail of new clues each day as investigators are on the clock to try to put the pieces together, while millions around the world watch their every move.
I can't recall in 46 years of law enforcement service a case like
Emma.
that ever occurring.
Where is Nancy Guthrie? A special edition of News Nation starts right now.
Will do.
Two weeks ago today, this quiet neighborhood in Tucson erupted with the news of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. 14 days later, there's been so many twists and turns. Are investigators any closer to finding answers? That is the big question right now. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Enton. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of News Nation.
Well, they got some. You take care as well, Emma. You take care. They got some DNA evidence that they found um, from one of the gloves. Apparently they found like 16 gloves, but they have some DNA that they sent out to Florida to be tested in the lab. And so I guess they're awaiting the DNA to come back. So that's the latest update I've heard from this whole case.
The Nancy Guthrie missing case as we continue to look into this mystery. Not a day goes by without some sort of key development in the search for the 84-year-old. She's a mother of Savannah Guthrie, and she's a mother of Cameron and also Annie Guthrie, too. And that includes last night, where there were developments last night. The sheriff here tells me there were no arrests in that major SWAT raid that we saw last night connected to the case
Danny?
about 2 miles from here. I'm told that there were no arrests, but there is still interest in exactly what happened last night. Investigators are looking into leads.
I mean, you think about it though. She probably live in a community, right, where there's never really anything going on. You know, you don't expect or you don't suspect that somebody is gonna break in your home, or you know, you kind of know everybody in the area. that the neighbors that you do have, right? So it's like some people just live like that. They live comfortable that way because there's never she's I don't know how long she's been living in that house, but it's probably never anything happening in that neighborhood ever, right? So people just don't think to secure their homes like that, you know? Especially, I knew I grew up in a community in the South where the door was open all the time. Especially all day, like during the day, the door was open all the time. Everybody in the neighborhood knew each other. So it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, but you don't really, it ain't every day that you think about being kidnapped. You know what I mean? So, but I get what you're saying, though.
That they worked on, and I'm told that they continue to flush those things out. And even though there were no arrests, the investigation is far from over. We are going to get to more of that in just moments. We're going to go through exactly what happened last night. I have News Nation's Jessica Cartalia and Marnie Hughes here with me as we go through all of the details of everything since the beginning. But first, we want to take you through a timeline, take you back to when all of this began. Sunday, January 31st, just about 30 minutes before sunset, Nancy Guthrie travels by Uber to the home of her oldest daughter, Annie. After dinner and games, son-in-law Tommaso Sioni brings her home. The time is 9:48. 2 minutes pass, and the 84-year-old's garage door closes. After midnight, Monday, February 1st, a masked, armed man approaches Nancy's door. Head down, he focuses in on the home's doorbell camera, then turns back to grab foliage in a clumsy attempt to cover the device.
There's no question that this was planned.
By 1:47 a.m., that Nest Cam is disconnected. At 2:12 a.m., another house camera detects movement. 16 minutes later, 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker disconnects from the app on her phone. Later that morning, a friend who regularly hosts Nancy to watch a streamed church service alerts the family that she's absent. 11:56, family goes to Nancy's home to investigate. 7 minutes later, 911 is called.
Nancy Dibbrick, 84-year-old white female, 5'4", 150, brown and blue.
Y'all think she's still alive? I mean, 14 days without your medicine, right? They said her life really depends on that medicine that she was taking. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know what y'all think.
12:15, sheriff's deputies arrive at Nancy's house and the search begins.
Breaking overnight, Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's 84-year-old mother, now at the center of a missing persons case.
Monday, February 2nd, the nation wakes to learn of Guthrie's family's nightmare. The Today Show begins without Savannah.
That's a good question, Danny.
Grave news.
That's a great question.
Our prayers are with our dear friend and colleague and her family this morning.
We saw some things at the home.
Apparently, she used Uber a lot too. So you heard about them interviewing like Uber drivers. But I mean, if she's in a church community and she's taking Ubers from her house to the church back and forth, I mean, anybody could have been watching her. Anybody. For a while. You just never know how long this been planned out.
That were concerning to us.
9 a.m., the Pena County Sheriff's press conference is carried live from coast to coast.
This is a 84-year-old lady who suffers from some physical ailments.
Bob told us that they were going to test the alien craft that night.
Is in need of medication that if she doesn't have in 24 hours, it could be fatal.
A local
medication, if she doesn't have for 24 hours, it can be fatal. Medication, if she don't have for 24 hours, it can be fatal. So I ask y'all again, do y'all think this woman is alive or no? I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it.
TV station receives a ransom note with specific details about what Nancy was wearing and with 2 distinct deadlines.
We're gathering some DNA samples to get those to our crime lab. But yes, it's evident to us that she was moved from that house against her will.
By the next day, Tuesday, February 3rd, the sheriff updates News Nation about that DNA.
They have confirmed that the DNA that we found belonged to Nancy, Savannah's mom.
It's announced that Savannah will be pulling out of Olympics coverage, and she asked the nation, just pray on Instagram. While sheriff's helicopters circle, News Nation brings viewers a sobering scene. We were able to get up close to the house right near the front door, and there is blood. There is a blood trail near the front door of Nancy Guthrie's house. Wednesday.
I mean, she was fighting for her life. 84 years old, 150 pounds, 5'4". I mean, there's not much she can do. But that means she was fighting for her life, literally, with all that she had.
February 4th, days after the crime scene is released, law enforcement converges with dogs, a perimeter, and investigators all over the property.
Are they getting things in the garage or?
Not speculating yet. I don't know if she is alive, bless her heart. That's too long to go without medication. Facts. Facts, facts, facts.
Or are they just using it to go in and out?
I mean, and then again, like it's really it's hard not to speculate though, because I mean they're talking the way they're talking, 24 hours without her medicine could be fatal. I mean, you use words like that, you know, it's hard. It's really hard not to speculate.
And love for her daughters and family.
Nancy's neighbors gather in prayer.
Now hang in there, Nancy. You got this.
President Trump posts pledging immediate federal support.
On behalf of our family.
And for the first time, we hear from the anguished family, directly addressing the kidnapper.
She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Thursday, February 5th sees a meager reward for information bump up to $50,000. Deputies canvass behind Annie Guthrie's home. A 5 p.m. ransom deadline comes and goes, and Nancy's only son posts a message.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you.
The FBI deploys digital billboards on Friday, February 6th. Nancy's car is towed. We learn another ransom note goes to a local TV station.
Is it, written by the same person? It's very difficult to tell.
And reporters aboard Air Force One get a briefing.
We have some clues, I think, that are very strong, and I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Saturday, February 7th, brings a flurry of activity both at Nancy and Annie.
It's getting harder and harder and harder to take him serious every day. It's getting more harder to take him serious every day.
Guthrie's home.
So I'm outside Annie Guthrie's house. Camera flashes from inside the house coming from the windows. So
Nancy's children release another emotional video.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us.
The septic tank behind Nancy's home is searched on Sunday the 8th.
We're now in day 9. FBI Director Kash Patel will be in Tucson today.
The work week begins with the FBI director on site, but behind the scenes. And as a ransom note's second deadline passes, the woman who typically spends her days cheerfully on camera turns to another.
Well, I think I don't know if I know that they're taking all of the tips very serious, but I don't know if they deem the ransom note that was sent to TMZ. I don't know if that was actually credible. I don't know for sure, but I know that they sent ransom notes to local authorities. But as far as TMZ, I don't know how accurate those were, or if they even had any credibility.
Appeal.
If you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation. And we need your help.
Tuesday, February 10th, a bombshell. The FBI's work nets the video seen around the world.
What we see is planned, but not professional.
Developments unfold rapidly, sending law enforcement south to Rio Rico, Arizona. I'm outside the house that is now being searched. This is her house, and the subject is her son-in-law.
Yeah,
Is
my
that right?
son, yeah.
Deputies detain a man for questioning and then his release.
Like, what the am I doing here? I didn't do anything, to be honest. Like, I'm innocent.
Wednesday, February 11th, the FBI searches along roadways in the
I don't like how they put this guy and his mother on live TV, right? If they're supposed, I thought, like, if you're investigating someone, right, then obviously they're, innocent to proven guilty. But the fact that the news outlet has shown their faces, right? Many, they're showing the area where they lived. I think they even showed the house, chat. I think they showed these people's houses. Like, that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. It's very dangerous for the world to see, right? That could potentially affect them. So I just feel like the sheriff department and the federal agents who came in on this case, I think they handled this kind of sloppy. Like, why are you showing these faces? Why are you allowing the media to be there recording these people's privacy? Right? So I thought that was bad.
Catalina foothills, and a black glove is reported to be found.
Get it forensically tested, come up with a DNA profile.
The 12th, shortly after a forensic height chart is brought in, we get this description of the man at the door. 5'9" to 5'10", average build. His backpack, a Walmart brand 25-liter Ozark trail hiker.
They are saying as well that they now have 13,000 tips from the public.
Friday the 13th brings rain and gloomy skies for the first time since the kidnapping, and a growing display from a heartbroken community.
People care.
A report of new evidence.
You have unknown DNA that you have found, DNA that does not match anybody in the Guthrie family, does not match anybody working for Nancy Guthrie inside her home.
So someone's leaving.
Nightfall nets the most activity to date. A mobile command center, the bomb squad, and a SWAT team. Multiple people detained, and a nation increasingly desperate to bring Nancy home.
Can't imagine that if they get somebody that lives right next to me on my street, that even makes sense.
And joining me live now is News Nation's Jessica Cartalia. She is live from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Jessica, no arrests with this SWAT operation that we saw last night. What do we know about what happened there?
Yeah, really incredible, Brian, because we thought this could be it, right? Hopefully we have something that leads us.
She said, all for Savannah. They going above and beyond, which I understand, but don't put innocent people on blast. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
To Nancy Guthrie. It turned out they took them into custody. They took two people into custody, or detained two people in this home, another at a nearby traffic stop. You can only hold someone, though, as you know, when you're detaining someone for 48 hours. They were not arrested in this case, and at that point, police had to let them go. They said they were following a lead, but it did not turn out to be warrant of an arrest. Now, that said, the sheriff did also say today, Brian, that we could expect to see more situations just like this as these leads continue to come here to the Pima County Sheriff.
Y'all know how many false leads that they're getting? Like, they said they got like 13,000 tips in one day or something like that. But what's so crazy is they're gonna get so many people like turning in false tips or just like trolling, playing around, not being real, not being honest about what they're sending in. And once they finish this case, they're going to go back and review all of those tips and people that they might have deemed sending in like false tips or something like that, and they're going to arrest those people too. So anybody out there sending in fake tips, trying to get rewards, they will arrest you. They will come after you and arrest you. Real talk.
Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Jessica. You're outside the sheriff's office now, so obviously you'll let us know if there's any more activity because that's where the SWAT team initially rolled from. Do we know what else to expect? Could there be another operation, say, tonight?
You know, it's very interesting. Of course, they're not telling the media much at all through this entire process. We know that Sheriff Chris Nanos from the beginning was very vocal and then had to walk back some of the things that he said. So crickets coming out of here. We have not had updates in quite.
But you know what though, Danny? I think I think they really thought they had something. Um, on that first family that they interviewed, I really think they thought they had something because I don't think they showed the second family that lived like a, in the same neighborhood. They never showed the three detainees that they detained the other day. So they didn't show that family, I don't believe. But the first family that they detained, they showed the mother, they showed the son, they showed the house, they showed the road. I believe they showed the street address. If I'm not mistaken, I think they showed the street address. But this second detainment, I don't think they showed anybody. So the first one was just sloppy, you know. It was very sloppy, and I think that they really believed they had a lead that turned out to be false.
Some time. The latest that we've heard was from the FBI when they released that video of the suspect. They also gave a description after they walked into the house with that height chart, Brian. But we have not heard anything following this situation this morning. We received a message News Nation heard directly from the sheriff. He said, again, just following a lead. As for what could happen tonight, that remains to be seen. Right now, it is very quiet here outside of the sheriff's department.
Okay, Jessica, we'll check back in with you if anything develops, and of course, just like last night, if there's some kind of SWAT operation, we'll be ready to roll. Jessica, thank you. Joining me now is Bob Krieger. He is a former Pima County SWAT. You were the sergeant of the SWAT team, right? You were pretty much over the SWAT team.
Commander, yeah.
Commander, yes.
For the last 5 years,
It's
off and on.
It's nice to see you again, Bob. Walk us through a little bit of what you know about this operation last night, and are you surprised? The sheriff texted me this morning that there were no arrests.
I'll start by saying I'm not surprised there were no arrests. That's not uncommon in an operation like that. SWAT serves a couple different functions. First and foremost, is to make the scene safe for the investigators. They are not really concerned with evidence collection, things like that. They're concerned with taking everyone into custody, doing that safely, and giving the investigators a safe scene to work with. So it's not uncommon to go through an operation like that. They were there to collect evidence and interview people, and that all got accomplished. So last night was a success.
And that'll just take time now, because I'm assuming, just like we saw at the situation near the border, they take electronics. I'd imagine all that's going to take some time. We're not going to see an immediate arrest.
Exactly. Unless there was evidence gained that was rock solid and it was time for the arrest, then they would do it then. But again, not uncommon. Sometimes these, as we can tell now, we're in the second week. These investigations can take a long time to get what they need to get the probable cause to make an arrest.
So many people around the country and really around the world are following this case and have questions about this case. And we've received a couple of videos from people who had questions for you, specifically one about cameras in the area. I want to play this, and then I want to get your reaction.
Can you provide any clarity on the traffic camera situation there in Tucson? Because I've heard that they don't really have traffic cams that the police can rely on in this investigation. And second question, do they have license plate readers in that area?
Okay, you're the perfect guy for this.
So on the first part of that question,
why is this such a big story? People have been saying it looks like an inside job. Only time will tell. Why is this a big story? Because her mother, the daughter, is a news anchor for today's show. That's why it's a big story. She's popular. And of course, what the news media is going to do, the news media is going to blow it up. Why? Because the media love big stories. That's why. I don't think it's a family member that has done this. Yeah, I don't think it's a family member either. But you never know. Like I said, she went to church. She called Ubers to church back and forth regularly. So you just never know how long someone's been watching this woman. You just never know. Hit that like button on the way in. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
we do not have many red light cameras or anything like that. There are a handful within the city limits. We had them years ago. The voters chose they didn't want them, so they were removed. So as far as the camera technology goes, specific to those cameras, there aren't a lot of them. License plate readers, there are definitely more of those. There are also private folks who are running license plate readers as kind of a side hustle.
Really? That's interesting.
Oh yeah, they'll work them to find stolen cars for repossessions, things like that. So that's not uncommon. The technology is out there, and there are other systems available to us as far as cameras go. The Department of Transportation, there are companies out there that we can work with that have cameras that can provide us information. The bad thing is if we don't know what we're looking for, the cameras are just showing license plates and cars.
Right.
So we need more to go on, but if they can get something, then the technology is also there to start looking through those cameras and seeing,
Absolutely.
license plate ABC 123 went through it this time.
Yeah, and until you're here, you don't realize just, how much brush there is. There's the cactuses, there's bushes. I mean, and the houses are set back off the road.
Yes.
So even if someone had a Ring camera, it seems difficult that they would actually capture something on the roads in these neighborhoods.
In neighborhoods like this, yes. They're not the cookie cutter type neighborhoods where you can see right behind us, nothing but brush. And so until you're on property walking up to the door, there's not a lot that you're going to see. You might get a little bit of movement at the street, but unfortunately, a lot of times in these types of neighborhoods, you're not getting what you really want.
Something else I wanted to ask you about, Bob, is before we went out and witnessed what SWAT was doing last night, which was really impressive, by the way. You're the Pima team. I mean, I know you were the boss of the team, so I mean, it's impressive to see them in action.
Good to hear.
But I heard
Are they going to show that other video?
And I was told that Pima County has a surveillance plane.
I think this was actually, I'm not sure. This was 5 hours ago, but I think they actually recorded this last night, yesterday. But we're gonna get in. I already got some updated videos. I'm gonna come back to this one. Because it's 40 minutes long. It's almost like a documentary in a way. But we're gonna come back to this one. I think Fox News put out a update. No, CNN put out. Well, I think Fox News and CNN put out an update. So we're gonna see what they both are saying, right? See what CNN is saying.
Why do we browse like this?
See what CNN is saying.
From Savannah Guthrie as the search for her mother, Nancy, now begins a third week. With no suspect and no motive established, Savannah Guthrie still says there is hope and there is still time. She speaks directly to her mother's abductor in this new video posted on social media. Watch this.
We still have hope. And we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not
She
lost.
looks stressed. She looks stressed.
And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being.
The latest from investigators is authorities are waiting for the final forensic result.
She do, Danny. She looked very depleted. Very depleted. She looked stressed out. I can't imagine. That's terrible.
Results from DNA found on a glove about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home in Arizona. Those results could come back today. The FBI says it appears to visually match, at least, the glove worn by the suspect in the doorbell cam video from the night Nancy was abducted. Still, a source close to the investigation tells CNN that there is no leading theory behind what motivated Guthrie's disappearance. Investigators are examining all possibilities, including it was a burglary gone wrong or a targeted abduction. John?
All right, with us now, former FBI agent Brianna Fox. Brianna, thank you so much for being with us. Let's start with this glove, which is being tested right now. It's out for testing. The FBI says the glove they have does match the glove seen in this doorbell video by appearance. If it comes back and there is some kind of identifiable DNA on it, what then do they do?
I don't know. I don't know if she'll quit. I mean, I think she canceled. I think she was supposed to go to uh, an event in New York today for the President's Day. She was supposed to cover, yeah, I think she was supposed to cover an event in New York, Mount Vernon, for President's Day that she canceled. So she didn't go to that. So I don't know if she'll quit. Only time will tell. What's up, Lee? How you doing, Lee?
Right. Well, I mean, this is also a huge thing. We all had the video. We've now found this glove, and there's potential DNA on it. So obviously, we don't have that direct link yet from this glove to the scene. So that's what investigators are going to do. They said that it appears to be a visual match, but they're going to have to confirm that if they're going to get an arrest warrant and take this case to trial. Additionally, they're going to want to search through CODIS. That is the FBI's database that houses all the information for everyone arrested or DNA found at crime scenes. They're going to code through all of that. And if they don't find it, then they're going to go out to additional DNA options.
So this new video from Savannah, which I'll play without audio right here, just so people can see it, she sends this message, it's never too late, she says. Who do you think that's directed to? Why that choice of words? Why this messaging now?
I have been so moved by all of Savannah's posts, and in particular this one. I thought that the call to empathy that she has, we do this a lot in interviews and interrogations. You could be so angry and horrified by the offense that this person committed, but appealing to them as a person, trying to speak to them directly, building rapport, that's actually what gets the best results. So I thought what Savannah did was so brave, and she's trying to say to this person, I'm not mad at you. I just want my mother home. And you're still a good person if you do that. So I thought that was fantastic. It could yield great results.
And finally,
Yeah, but what are the odds, though? I mean, it could yield results, but what are the odds, right? Possibly another ransom note. You know, this is what we want. This is what you need to do. Possibly, but like I said, man, it's hard not to speculate that this woman is still alive or not still alive. It's hard. It's hard considering, you know, that she need medication.
over the weekend, especially early in the weekend, we were getting word of these searches that were happening in the neighborhood of Nancy Guthrie's home. You can see the home is right here. There was a search at a home, and there was a search of a vehicle not too far away. We don't know, frankly, what came of these searches, but what does it tell you that they may still be focused on this general area?
Right, there could be something like a bloodhound, something that led them to that area, and that's where the scent went cold, so to speak. So they may think, well, there's some reason to believe that she's still in this area. Additionally, they could have a lot of tips coming in, all stating we've seen things, heard things all about this area, that's really the hot zone. So it seems like they are zoning in on that, Rio Rico and the Catalina foothills. So for all we know, that's where the investigation is leading them. They just have not notified the public of that yet.
It's still.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that they probably haven't told us, y'all. It's a lot of things they know. They're coming close to something. They probably ain't notified us about it.
Been a day or two since we've seen any activity like this. We will see if it picks up again today. Brianna Fox, thank you very much.
Joining us right now is CNN Chief Media Analyst Brian Stelter and former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis. Brian, just wanted to start with you as you continue to do reporting on how this is impacting Savannah and her family and everything you've heard. Tell us more about this new video that Savannah put out.
But this video, I thought this was the hardest one to watch yet. In some ways, the most personal, the most raw. And she continues to use her Instagram feed, signaling this is personal, right? Of course it is. But signaling that she's not there using the trappings of NBC, not using the trappings of the Today Show, not relying on the fancy cameras and studio lighting. She is just there as a daughter pleading for help. I noticed a column from Washington Post columnist Monica Hess last week about this, saying, what would it be like if your professional skills, in this case Savannah's skills on TV, were suddenly required for the most crucial and terrifying personal matter? And that's exactly what we're seeing. She's having to communicate through the camera lens, trying to speak to these apparent abductors directly, telling them it's never too late to do the right thing. I found it even more heartbreaking than the earlier videos, Kate.
Yeah, and at investigators looking at where
The Ozark book bag. Yeah, book bag was from Walmart. I heard that when they showed it the video earlier on the last video.
things stand right now, they're testing a glove that they say appears to match what the suspect was wearing in the doorbell videos. Test results could come back today. Could a glove crack this case?
Absolutely. But some things have to line up first. The fact that they found a glove that's similar to the glove in the photo doesn't necessarily make it the right one. And
I was just thinking that. Like, this could be another situation where another family could be harassed because they think they have a lead because they found a glove that had DNA on it. But this glove could belong to anybody, right? Like, just like you said, just because the glove is similar don't mean that it's the exact same glove. You just don't know. You don't know. Unless they can find her blood on the glove too. If they find her blood on the glove, now that would be something to talk about.
and it's quite common to find DNA on that type of a piece of evidence that your hand was inside, that you were sweating in. So someone's DNA is there. The key thing right now for me is whether or not the DNA they found in the glove matches the DNA samples they said they found in the house. If they did, that will most certainly be the suspect, and then they can move to CODIS and to familial DNA to try to run this down. It could break the case wide open.
And also, with that in mind, a source tells CNN that investigators, they don't have a leading theory for why Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Does that surprise you? I mean, what could help determine a motive, short of finding said suspect and and reaching a conclusion in this case?
You usually try to extrapolate a motive from the evidence you find at the scene and the activities of the individual. This one is a
Hey Danny, it looked like it's gated around the back of the house, don't it? Don't it look like it got like some gating around the back of the home? But it don't necessarily wrap around the front all the way around. I mean, the pool is definitely gated, and then like, what is that? Like a golf course maybe? She definitely had a nice house. She had a nice home, or she have, right? She have a nice home. So I don't know if I mean he definitely walked right up to the front door. So yeah.
real head scratcher. This doesn't make any sense in any conventional kidnapping process that we're familiar with. If your motivation is money, you don't go to a TV station and demand money. If your motivation is some type of an attack on the family, then the high profile nature of this is actually detrimental to your twisted goals. So I think that's why they're having trouble trying to establish a motive here. And it may be that we're not going to get a motive until we find who was responsible for it, if ever.
Brian, another thing that's happening now are these self-described internet sleuths and true crime streamers. They're showing up in droves, apparently, in Arizona. And now local leaders are saying that they're speaking out, saying they're doing more harm than good. One state representative just had posted, even on X, please go home, let law enforcement do their job, stop following them during SWAT operations and playing detectives. I am sick of the constant lies from those who can't even spell Tucson and clearly have never been to our city.
Wow. Don't tell me we got YouTube live streamers interfering with the investigation. These fake true crime TV shows, live streamers. They done called out the live streamers, y'all. Lord have mercy.
What's going on here?
Arizona lawmakers slammed true crime streamers covering Guthrie's case.
I've been noticing this as the days turn into weeks, this flock of true crime influencers. That is a real thing nowadays, and it's not all bad, it's not all good, it's just really complicated. You know, the influencer content we're seeing from Tucson is much more raw, much more personal, often much more speculative in nature than what you're seeing from traditional media. Some of these influencers cross lines that journalists are taught to avoid for legal and ethical reasons. Sometimes there's open speculation about possible suspects, people naming names without any evidence whatsoever. And I understand why this can be appealing to some viewers. The content feels more participatory than traditional news coverage. You feel like you might be involved in solving the crime. You're putting the clues or the pieces together. That can be a powerful feeling, but it might not be a reality-based feeling. I was speaking with someone involved in the investigation who told me, yeah, some of this chatter on social media has been downright unhelpful. But the person also said to me, quote, there's a recognition that the breakthrough tip could come from anyone from anywhere. So there is an acknowledgement here that this is mostly happening in good faith. People want to help. It creates the illusion of participation. But there are definitely times when these TikTokers, these Instagrammers, these YouTubers, they have meddled or they've gotten in the way, so to speak. There's even been times when the sheriff's office have had to remind everyone not to share misinformation or order pizza delivery to the crime scene. So, you know, look, social media connectivity, it's not all.
Not they ordering pizza to the crime scene. No. Basically, he's saying y'all need to stay the hell out of our way. That's basically what he's saying in a nutshell, right? That's basically what he's saying. You YouTubers out there, y'all need to stay the hell out of our way, trying to come stream these investigations. He said ordering pizza to the crime scene. I know damn well. I know damn well they ain't doing that, chat. That's wild work.
Information or order pizza delivery to the crime scene. So, you know, look, social media connectivity, it's not all bad, right? We've seen Savannah use the Instagram to share her pleas for help, but it is worth scrutinizing what happens when a crime, an actual crime, moves into the true crime genre and you have people trying to glom onto it for their 15 minutes of fame.
15 minutes of fame. No. Basically, they saying, man, y'all need to chill out, man. We know y'all trying to get your YouTube streams. All right, Danny. We know y'all trying to get your YouTube streams up. Y'all trying to live stream to capture this story for 15 minutes of fame, but y'all actually y'all are actually interrupting our investigation. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. That is what's going on. All right, so that was CNN. They gave an update on that. We're gonna check Fox News and see what they actually have to say.
For Nancy Guthrie is now in week 3 as her daughter Savannah releases a new plea to her mother's suspected abductors.
I wanted to come on and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just
Hello, I see the hee haw. How you doing?
wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late.
Yo, she look like she has not slept. She looked like she hadn't slept since in 3 weeks. Literally. It looked like she have not been to sleep the entire time.
And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
But we may have a breakthrough in the case. This morning, the FBI says that the DNA has been found on a glove recovered near Nancy's home that appears to match the suspect's glove that you see in that footage on her doorbell camera.
And over the weekend, the FBI executed a federal search warrant at the house in the same neighborhood where Nancy went missing, resulting in 4 people being briefly detained and then released.
The search also leading investigators to.
Yeah, I mean, it resulted in 4 people being detained. 2 people, their home was shown, the street was shown. Like I said, the house was shown, the street was shown, street signs, the mother was shown, and the son was shown on live television for millions of people to see. I think that work right there was definitely sloppy. Those people should have not been shown, especially if you are investigating a crime, right? Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So I don't know if that's gonna do any hurt to those people or any damage to those people for exposing. They could possibly sue. I don't know if they could sue, but for exposing their home, their faces for an investigation, and then only to find out that they had nothing to do with anything, that was very sloppy. Very, very sloppy.
To seize a gray Range Rover that was taken in for evidence testing, and we are still awaiting a status update for what officials might have found inside that vehicle.
So this all comes as it has now been 11 days since the last press conference from local officials on the status of the search, and there are still no suspects.
So for the latest on the ground, let's go out to Matt Finn, who is live outside of Nancy's Tucson home. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Authorities say they have found at least 16 gloves in the area, but this one single glove could be a match to the one that masked suspect is wearing on the Nest Cam video. The DNA profile.
Hey, Patrice. How you doing, Patrice?
Lifted from that glove will be added to the CODIS national database for comparison.
Be sure to hit that like button on the way in. Thank you guys so much. Give me a thumbs up.
Could get results soon. Now, CODIS contains more than 19 million offender DNA profiles and has helped the FBI in more than 750,000 cases. And Fox News Digital reports that investigators are using a high-tech Bluetooth scanner on the bottom of low-lying helicopters to detect Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker signal. The helicopter flies low in grid-like patterns to try to pick up her signal. And in an interview with the Daily Mail, Pima County Sheriff Nanos is quoted talking about Google trying to recover new video from another camera on Nancy's property, saying Google said at first we do not have anything, but we're going to do our best to try what they call scratch. It's hard. It's like scratching through layers. Think of it like you have 8 layers of paint on your house. I just hope they can scrape a camera shot down that driveway to identify a vehicle because, my goodness, you cannot put a mask on a vehicle, right? And we have some fresh drone video that shows you an angle of Nancy's house you may not be.
I wonder how long that's going to take. 16 gloves, yeah. But I wonder how long that's going to take for Google to possibly scratch a camera on the side of the house, right? That could possibly show a vehicle. Maybe if they can get to it, maybe that will definitely help answer a lot of questions.
Seeing too much. It's the back side of the home and the rear patio. You could see that blue door on your screen right now. That is the main back door.
Hey, Shatina, how you doing?
Door with some glass window panes. If you look on your screen, you could see we don't see any immediate damage to any doors or windows in the rear of the house, although that is our unofficial view. So far, the sheriff has not confirmed whether there was any, and that's the second blue door on the garage area, it seems. So far, the sheriff has not confirmed whether there was any forced entry and has not confirmed if the suspect used the front or back door or one of the many windows on the home. Back to you guys.
Okay. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, that's a big ass house for one lady, bro. That is a huge house for one person. Just one person. Now, unless she hosted like family events, like every holiday, every event was held at mom's house, I get it. But that's a huge house for one person. Crazy.
Over the weekend, it came out more information about that gun holster and also about the gun. And they were saying, based on that information,
that's facts, Danny. That's facts.
Investigators could cross-reference purchases, where that holster was bought, where the gun was bought, and hopefully these two items, they could link to one suspect. The gun holster, according to the Miami area police officer, this officer that was being interviewed, that was seen in the surveillance video. It's cheap, it's easily distinguishable, it's only available at a limited number of retail stores. The shape and other details align with a Strategy brand hip holster that is available at some Walmart stores for $10. And as of Saturday afternoon, the holster listed as in stock at 5 Walmart stores in that Tucson area. The gun appears to be a Walther semi-automatic or something similar.
Dang, they done found out where the holster was bought. They said it's a Walmart holster. It's only available at 5 Walmarts in the Tucson area. Oh, they are investigating everything. Everything. I'm talking about every spectacle of the camera, the video that they got. They are investigating everything. Wow. It needed to be someone in the home, Dom. You know, that's a lot of room for one older person. I know, right? Dolly, Dolly. What's going on, Dolly? But yeah, I mean, that's a huge home for one elderly person, 84 years old. That's a yeah. I mean, she didn't have a dog. There was no dog, nothing, no animals. Mm.
Has a distinctive shape and a retention band, not considered popular. They don't expect investigators will find many purchases, which could be a good thing.
Yeah, they can use that AI technology to try to find someone. Let's bring in Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Griff Jenkins. He's live outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. Griff, so they recovered some DNA that was inside of the house on the glove. At least one of the gloves was sent to the DNA testing, found 2 miles from the Guthrie home. They arrived at that Florida lab on Friday. The preliminary results show that the DNA profile was an unknown male. That matches the description that we have thus far. And then that FBI database, also known as CODIS, will get officials of those results. What do you know now that you're on the ground? Have you gotten the opportunity to survey the field?
Whoa. What's that?
Apparently.
You know, let's start first with that glove and the DNA and that CODIS system, the combined DNA index system that Matt Finn talked about. More than 750,000 cases have been solved because of it. It played a key role, if you remember, in the Brian Kohberger case. It took 47 days to get Brian Kohberger, and it was that CODIS system that matched a Brian Kohberger to his father, Michael Kohberger, and relatives. That's how this works. When we get those results, that could give them a lead indeed. Now, when we get that, we don't know. As you mentioned, it's been 11 days since the last press conference. We got a lot of information up front, but Sheriff Nanos and the officials have not given us much. Hopefully we get that. But, you know, I've only been on the ground 5 or 6 hours since I landed. And when I drove up here, Lawrence, it is unbelievable. You do not accidentally end up here. I had missed multiple turns using my GPS with the brights on my car. And you can see the Guthrie home behind me. But if you, Shane, just pan over here a little bit, you step just a foot or two off of just the driveway in the pitch black, and you can see you're in dense desert terrain. And, you know, when we talk about that signal sniffer on the helicopter in the Pima County.
Are y'all catching what he's putting down? Are y'all catching what he's putting down? He is possibly saying what you said earlier, Danny. This could be an inside job. He been looking at her home. Somebody knew the landscape of the house. Somebody knew exactly where she lived. He said you just can't stumble across this house like if you don't know how to get, inside, or especially late in the morning at night like that. It's pitch dark. Somebody had to know something. She's been watching. She was being watched for a while. Somebody's been watching her for a while.
County helicopter. I've been
maybe 2 more weeks for the DNA results. Nah, they'll be in probably today or tomorrow.
out here in Pima County and Pinal County, riding around when we were pursuing cartel people, groups, drug runners here. This is where we're only 60 miles from the border, and they're using that FLIR radar, this area to find those 16 gloves, let alone this one that may be the DNA match. It's really quite significant. This is difficult terrain, no doubt. And that really, I know it's been talked about for the 16 days we've been covering this, but once you're on the ground, it's really a key factor. Now, let's go back to that glove. When we get light out here, we're going to go and walk along that area. Obviously, with 16 gloves, the majority of them, if not 15 of the 16, were perhaps the investigators who dropped them on the ground because they're trying not to affect the evidence. But no doubt, this is certainly one of the best leads they've got because, again, this is going to be solved through either DNA or if they're able to track purchases like the backpack, or if these tips that keep coming in give them a break that they're looking for.
So, Griff, one last question about that glove. Authorities say that the glove appears to be a match. And when they say that, they're basically just basing that on the way it looks. It looks like it's the same glove that the person was using in that door cam. There's no other scientific match beyond that.
That's exactly right. And that's an important point, Charlie, because what they were able to do is they were able to lift DNA off of this glove. But they find the glove significant because the glove appears to match the look and style of the one that was seen on that doorbell Ring camera that we have been playing. The gloves you see come towards the camera, that's what's different about this glove than the other 15 they've found so far. And so when that DNA is put into the CODIS system and the results come back, they will then begin to look for who it may be. Is it a relative in this area? Is it somebody that perhaps matches the build 5 to 10? There's probably a likelihood that we don't know all of the details they told us about the suspect in that Ring camera. They may know more that they're not sharing with us, like ethnicity or other details. That'll be all part of the factor. But one thing is for sure, hopefully the officials today, tomorrow, will start to give us a little bit more to work on because there are lots of, reporting going out there that the officials are having to shoot down. Like, for example, yesterday, there was a local report that the prevailing theory in this was a burglary gone wrong. Sheriff Nano saying, no, that's not the prevailing. That didn't come from an inside source from us because, we're working at all of the angles. But because of the lack of information and not having these press conferences, you have these stories out here that gain steam that have no basis. So we just stick to the facts, but that DNA in this glove is definitely the tip of the spear of where we believe the investigation stands now, Charlie.
Griff, when you say preliminary results show DNA profile of an unknown male, does that just conclude that it's a man, or does that mean that the DNA didn't match any of the offenders in CODIS?
No, it just means that they were able to, remember, when you talk about DNA evidence, there's all kinds of, there's biological, there's trace, and then, of course, there is impressions, and that means they're able to pick up something that identifies this as a male. But then that is then sent into the CODIS, this combined DNA index system that has the ability, Ainsley, for the FBI to combine, to work across federal, state, and local crime databases, so that way they can begin to try and figure out whose DNA that is. That result, because the DNA sample was sent to the Florida lab, it took about 24 to 48 hours, so if that's Friday, we believe it certainly could be today we get results, would come back, and then, of course, the results of searching across that database with federal, state, and local. Who does it match? Is it anyone in this area? That is where the possible break would be.
Hey, one real quick question, because we need to move on, but is the working theory still that the suspect in the Ring door camera was wearing a glove over another glove, or is that theory gone out the window?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Just to be very honest about this, I don't know exactly whether that's still the thing because we don't have a lot of press access with the officials. They're keeping it very close to the vest here, but that's certainly a question I'll ask if I get an opportunity a little bit later.
Roger that. All right, Griff.
Thank you, Griff. Great to see you, man.
Yeah, and just a
Thank
quick clarification. During the Brian Kohlberger case, they didn't use CODIS, they used the genealogy. In this case, they're probably going to do the both. The CODIS system is the federal database. Many people that are sex offenders, or if there was a federal affidavit where the judge required them to get a warrant, but they'll be able to do both. But each time that they test that DNA, you lose the value of that DNA. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
All right, so that was the coverage on Nancy Guthrie. We're gonna come back to this in just a moment. I need to go run and use the restroom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this President's Day video once again, because today is President's Day. So we're gonna play this video once again while I go use the restroom, and I'll be right back, guys.
Work today is broken. Every day, people juggle so many different.
After winning the war, Washington did what victorious leaders rarely did at the time. He voluntarily gave up power. Many would have gladly made George Washington the king of America. Yet all he wanted to do was return here to Mount Vernon and to be with his loving wife, Martha.
That was former President George W. Bush in 2007, marking President's Day with a visit to Mount Vernon, Virginia, the home of the country's first president, George Washington. Banks, post offices, government offices, public schools, and the stock market will all be closed in honor of President's Day, which is today. It's also the perfect excuse for us to talk more about why we celebrate this day in the first place with presidential historian and executive director of the George Washington Presidential Library, Lindsay Chervinsky. You know the Mount Vernon area where the president was speaking quite well. You've also given me great tours of it. It's beautiful. Everyone should go. But let's talk a little bit about the history of this day and why we celebrate it in the first place, because there's remembering presidents and then there's the larger shadow that they cast over this country, both now and when we look back at them, right? So talk to us about why this day matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the holiday actually started really early on when people were celebrating Washington's life while he was still alive. So weird. It is a little bit odd. And when, I think he probably felt it was a little weird too. He attended a couple of birthday balls at Gadsby's Tavern just across the river in Alexandria. And there was certainly a sense that this was a remarkable person that deserved to be celebrated. But there were already questions in the 1790s about when do you celebrate the office and when do you celebrate the person? Now, the celebrations for Washington continued, and after the Civil War, people started to ask, well, should we add a Lincoln to this list? Because he, of course, was a remarkable president. But the holiday that was created legally in 1885 for the nation is actually Washington's birthday. It's not about all of the presidents. We've just kind of lumped them in there. And that's largely actually an advertising ploy to get people to buy stuff for President's Day.
Right. Not that we need any excuse for the sale. But at the same time, when you talk about separating the office from the presidency, or rather the office from the person, it does feel like those things are so mushed right now in the public consciousness because of the way that Trump himself has sort of refashioned the presidency and the role of a president within it. I think that's a fascinating thing for us to reflect on as we head into a day like today. But then also the way that you and I have talked about this over the years. Last year we were saying, rather you were, that this day is a little bit silly. I think it got taken way out of context. But as you reflect on it now, what do you see in the importance or not of celebrating President's Day?
Well, I think it's interesting the clip you started with, George W. Bush. He's at Mount Vernon. Obviously, we agree that everyone should go to Mount Vernon on President's Day.
Duh.
It is free today, so anyone who wants to come, please do come visit us. And that makes sense to me, to celebrate great presidents, to celebrate Washington, to celebrate Lincoln, to celebrate Theodore Roosevelt and Dwight Eisenhower. Yeah. These men did amazing things, and those amazing things deserve to be remembered. But Millard Fillmore, John Tyler, James Buchanan, these are not the Washingtons and the Lincolns. And so I think today is a really great opportunity to think about, where has the presidency, where did it start? Where has it gone? How has it evolved? And where do we as citizens want it to go? because it's the only office that represents all Americans, and therefore we have a say in what we want it to be and how we want it to represent us.
You're also talking about some of the greatest people to get elected, and not all of them can be the greatest of the greatest, right? We have a certain few that occupy that space. And this is now coming on the 250th anniversary of our country. You and I talk a lot about the various parallels and things that are important as we reflect on that moment. Does that make this President's Day interesting, different?
And just because it's President's Day, don't make it about Donald J. Just because it's President's Day does not make this about Donald J. Okay? They probably gonna need that genealogy. Shatina said thumbs up. Qatari jet name. What? What you listening to? We listen to a quick segment on President's Day. Today is President's Day. It's Family Day in Canada. Shout out to Canada. What you eating, King? Something I don't need to be eating. Something I don't need to be eating. Some sweets. I got the sweet tooth. All right. So I think we covered enough about Nancy Guthrie. We got the updates so far. Honestly, I don't think there's any more updates. Let me check my news segments. I don't think there's I don't know. Hold on.
Community
Manhunt. Nancy Guthrie. Oh yeah, that's that YouTube stuff. You remember they told us about that YouTube stuff. Be careful with that YouTube stuff. These YouTube streamers with their information, you got to be careful with it. Retail sales records. This was just released 5 minutes ago.
Jonathan, good morning. You spoke with the Pima County Sheriff. What are investigators focusing on right now?
Yeah, good morning to you, Vlad. The sheriff who I spoke with yesterday saying they are tracking down several significant leads. The first one being the clothing that we have seen the suspect wearing in that chilling surveillance video. The sheriff yesterday confirming that investigators have now been working with Walmart at local stores, reviewing.
I don't know what that means. Other teens. Other teens? I don't know what that means. Qatari jet name. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I'm sorry. You're not explaining it. You're just saying it.
Surveillance video from those stores here in the local Tucson area. We're also told that they are looking at Walmarts in other neighboring states as well. The belief right now is that all of the clothing, including the backpack and even the face mask, all came from the same retailer and potentially were purchased in store. According to the sheriff, they are working with Walmart. Walmart has handed over purchase records specifically pertaining to the backpack, including names. It is our understanding from the sheriff, those records date back possibly several months. They are looking through each and every one to see if there is any kind of positive ID. The other big topic that we discussed were the gloves that have been recovered from near the crime scene, 16 in total. One of them was a garden glove, according to the sheriff, but they are focused in on a pair of black gloves. One of those gloves did have DNA. What I am told is foreign DNA, not belonging to Nancy Guthrie or anyone close to her. That glove was submitted to the Florida lab on Friday. The results were received on Saturday and are now being analyzed. It's unclear if they've been uploaded to the CODIS FBI database. That database tracks criminal cases and DNA there. I'm also told by the sheriff that they could be working with third-party vendors, including Ancestry.com and 23andMe, to possibly make a link. At this hour, it is unclear if that link has been made, Vlad.
And Jonathan, we know there was a lot of concern about Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. Do you know if investigators have gotten any sign that she's still alive?
That's a great question, Chanel. I spoke to the sheriff about this yesterday as well. So that pacemaker that Nancy Guthrie had transmitted through Bluetooth a signal specifically to her phone. We know that because investigators early on were able to determine when she was taken from her home, because that phone was left behind. According to the sheriff, it is possible to pick up a ping, a transmission from that pacemaker, although it requires close proximity, anywhere from 6 to 10 feet. He said it is possible that investigators could go from property to property. He also said it is possible to use an amplifying device to extend that distance, meaning they could pick up that signal from further away easier. I asked him if there had been any signs of life.
This is what he said when we spoke back on Friday.
There has been no sign of life.
Does she have that kind of
But I'm going to tell you, too, there's been no sign of death. We will all, the family believes she's alive. They have that hope. So do we.
No sign of life, but no sign of death. We heard from Savannah Guthrie in that video.
That's some messed up facts. Wow, Walmart is the go-to store for illegitimate activities now. Apparently so. I'm just shocked these stores are supplying these maniacs with all the equipment, one-stop shop. I mean, well, you have the self-checkout now and all that stuff. Like a lot of times they're not checking to see exactly what everybody is purchasing now. So, you know, that part comes now. What makes this case more important than any other missing person in the world? It's not. I mean, it's media, man. The daughter was a news outlet, Today's Show, talk show lady. Popular, clicks, ratings. Unfortunately, the media is gonna blow it up. It's gonna get more views because people knew who she was. So it ain't that she's more important, but I mean, yeah, I mean, no, it is. That's how that's why. That's what they're thinking, right? She's more important. I'm not saying that, but that's what they're thinking. They believe that.
She released yesterday. Savannah clearly believes, along with her family, that Nancy Guthrie is still alive. I should point out that the sheriff gave us an update on the number of tips they've received, and not just them, but all the agencies working together. 50,000 tips so far. They have been tracking down every single lead as we now enter what is day 16 of this search. Again, no suspect, and it is unclear where Nancy Guthrie is. Vlad, Chanel.
Oh boy. All right, Jonathan, thank you very much for your.
You got to think too. I mean, a lot of times, when you look, the federal agents, they left this in the local officials' hands at first. The sheriff, they gave it all to the sheriff. They said, "Hey, we're in the background in case you guys need our help, but we'll let y'all have it. Y'all can search for her, do what you need to do." The federal government was gonna let them handle that, but they reached out for assistance. So that's when all of this stuff started really, really, really blowing up more and more and more.
Reporting.
But anyways, y'all, I think every news outlet is gonna cover the same amount of information that we've already covered. So we just gonna go ahead and move on. I don't think it's no more. If you guys get any more details about this case, you put it in the chat. Let us know. But I don't think anything else is gonna come from this. So we're gonna move on into the government shutdown situation with the DHS funding. We're gonna move on to that. We're gonna move on to the Epstein stuff that's going on too as well. Um, so we're gonna kick it off with this one.
And now to the growing fallout from the Epstein files and how they've been handled by the Trump administration. While little
That's true. The Central Walmart files can be checked. Walmart is one of the few stores left, superstores, one-stop shop. Yeah, hi. Is there still a ransom for her? Look, they're taking all tips and all that stuff. They're taking that stuff serious, right? Apparently, they got over 13,000 tips right now. So, yeah, pretty sure there is a ransom still. Governance for fun and profit.
action has been taken to investigate the files in this country. The files have prompted new investigations in several other countries. Attorney General Pam Bondi claims all relevant files have been released, but her Justice Department has been accused of redacting the names of potential co-conspirators. In Europe, the former Prince Andrew is under growing pressure, but he is not the only public figure facing scrutiny these days. Lee Canary has the story.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Aferze Epsteina.
An international domino effect.
Investigations are now underway in at least 10 countries.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. The DOJ released the rest of the files yesterday. Well, they released names, right? They released all these names yesterday. That didn't do anything for me. Not that it's gonna do anything for me anyway, but I'm just saying in terms of context, right? Because that list that they released yesterday had everybody name on there. Everybody. I mean, even Barack Obama name was on there. But it just didn't give any details or context of why all of these names was put out. So it was almost like, mm, why are you releasing all of these names without any context, right? That was kind of weird to me.
From Europe, where the former Prime Minister of Norway is charged with gross corruption, which he denies, to the Emirates, where the CEO of one of the globe's largest companies has stepped down after the files released displayed communications with Epstein, including an email with a reference to, quote, torture video. He has not been charged with any crime. In the UK, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor faces new calls to be investigated for allegedly leaking state secrets. And in Hollywood, top marketing exec Casey Wasserman is selling his talent agency. He's not accused of a crime, but said he regrets flirtatious emails he sent to Ghislaine Maxwell that had become a distraction. Epstein spun himself a web of global elites, many of them named this weekend by the Department of Justice. 300 high-profile people that appear at least once in Epstein's emails.
And that's what I'm saying, right? They released 300 plus names, right? Some people didn't have anything to do with what he had going on. Some people might was mentioned in the emails, right? Probably was just mentioned, but didn't really have direct ties with Jeffrey Epstein. But the DOJ released those names anyway, right? That's just like it's just so sloppy how they're handling this entire case. It's very sloppy, very sloppy. It's like, okay, if you're gonna shit on Donald Trump, then why don't you guys shit on everybody? Because there's more than just his name in there. Even though his name appeared more than anybody else's, right? His name appears more than Jeffrey Epstein's name, his own name. but but they just released like 300 names just out of the blue. Just released 300 names, no context, no details, nothing. Just so the public can look and go check it out and make their own false speculations about these people. That's crazy.
Some in direct contact with him, others just mentioned in news articles. Criminality is not implied. But
What's up? What's up, Daisy? How you doing?
Juliette Bryant said when she met Epstein in South Africa, surrounded by powerful people, it made her feel safe.
A girl approached me and said she was here with the King of America. He was here with Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker.
Bryant did not accuse the other men of wrongdoing, but said Epstein flew her to New York and then put her on a private jet.
As the airplane took off, he started touching me forcibly in between my legs, and I freaked out. I realized this is not a modeling opportunity. I've been kidnapped.
Bryant received damages from Epstein's estate.
In the last few weeks, Juliette, we've seen people like royals, prime ministers.
You starting to see more. You starting to see more women speaking out because the DOJ released their name and information, right? So it's like, okay, well, we might as well speak out now because they were supposed to redact. Um, they were supposed to redact the victims and the survivors' name, phone numbers, address, personal information. But shit, the DOJ dropped the ball on that. I think it was intentional, to be honest with y'all. I think they released these people's information intentionally. That's my opinion. Because how can you redact or unredact these people's personal information when they initially asked you not to put their information out, but you made sure and you precisely redact the names of government officials at first. So it's just weird to me. It's weird to me how that actually took place. It's crazy. What's going on in the chat, y'all? Bit facts. What's going on? The other things. Releasing names and data of victims. Facts. Satan is the false accuser. Don't be like Satan. Judy said. Everyone wanted the files and now they have them and they still complain. Tammy, I don't think you understand what they're covering things up in the files, right? Like if you talk about full transparency, right? Then you need to be fully transparent, right? Why are you blacking out shit, right? Why are you blacking out information? that's not really damaging information. They're hiding things. Tammy, don't be so um naive. Like you have to be aware of what the DOJ is doing. The DOJ they're doing some slick things, some very slick things, some questionable things. They definitely are. They definitely are. I'm hearing gossip and lies. I'm out of here. Bye, Judy. See you later. See you later. It's so crazy that people have to announce their departure. You don't have to announce your departure. Just depart. Just leave. Just go. You know what I'm saying? Bye. Get up out of here. And most of the time, people announce their departure and they just sit and watch me anyway. So, anyways, why didn't Bush, Biden, Obama? See, this is how I know that the right always repeat talking points because that's the same thing that Pam Bondi was saying as well. That's the same thing the right is saying. They're all saying the same thing. Well, why didn't Biden? You know, it's crazy how um, the conservative party, like even the people that support the right wing, right? It's crazy how those talking points just trickle down, and these people can't really think for themselves. It's crazy because you ask a question, well, why didn't Biden do this? Why didn't Obama do this? Why didn't they do this, do that, do that, do that? You act like the investigation started 30 years ago. You act like the investigation started 40 years ago. What are you talking about? This investigation, what? When did this investigation start? Like 2012 or something like that? Like he got arrested in like 2018 or something like that. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The Transparency Act was a joke. The Transparency Act was a joke, okay? Because they should have put these files out when they said they was going to put them out. But what they wanted to do, they wanted to take time to cover shit up. They wanted to take some time to cover up for their friends. Yes, yes, yes. Definitely, definitely. But the truth gonna come out. The truth will prevail. Watch him. Best believe the truth will come out. It will. They can't redact the truth. They can't do it. They can't do it. Anyways, let's get back to the video.
As people in positions of power face real consequences. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's amazing that they're all being.
Why didn't Obama? Why didn't Biden put the files out? Blah, 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 blah. Damn, do y'all ever think for yourself? Y'all say the same shit over and over and over. We're gonna pause that one right there. Come on, internet. Let's get there, internet. Let's get there. Here we go. Where's that video right there?
We have seen some pathetic stunts out of Pam Bondi's DOJ to cover for this administration's Epstein connections, but none as shameless as this. The DOJ just sent Congress a 6-page letter explaining their redactions to the Epstein files, and buried in that letter is a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons who appear in the release materials. But what they decided to do was combine those who are implicated with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes with those who are just in the files because of a passing mention or because of their efforts to actually expose Epstein's crimes. The DOJ explicitly states that people appear on this list if their name shows up at least once in the files. But what that could mean is they had extensive direct email contact with Jeffrey Epstein himself, or, and this is important, it could mean they were mentioned only in a portion of a document, including press reporting that on its face is unrelated to the Epstein and Maxwell matters. Which is to say, if a newspaper article that mentioned Epstein also happens to mention, say, Barack Obama in a completely unrelated context, Obama's name goes on the list.
And they did this to do what? To muddy the waters, chat. That's exactly why they did that. To muddy the waters. put everybody's names out there, even though it was a lot of people on that list that had unrelated ties to neither Maxine or Epstein. That unrelated ties. We're gonna put their names out in it. We're gonna put the names out there anyway. Just muddy the waters, right? Confuse everybody. Confuse everybody. We need confusion right now because there's too much smoke in the air. Too much smoke in the air, right? But we all know where there's smoke, there is fire. Best believe that. And if your name mentioned over 4,000 times, anyways, move on.
That's it. That's the bar. Your name could appear in a flight manifest metadata. You could be referenced in a customs document. You could be mentioned in passing in an email about something else entirely. And congratulations, you're now on this big bombshell Epstein list distributed by Pam Bondi's Department of Justice. In other words, it was a deliberate effort by the DOJ to muddy the waters under the guise of transparency. Yet another red herring thanks to Trump and the rest of these pedophile protectors in his administration. So let me be crystal clear about something. This list is not a list of co-conspirators. It is not a list of people who did anything wrong. It is simply a list of every name that appears in the thousands of pages of documents. And the DOJ is using that ambiguity, that lack of context, as a shield to protect, well, I think you figured out that part by now. But here's what the DOJ isn't telling you in this letter.
He is hitting the nail on the coffin. I hope y'all listening. He is hitting the nail on the coffin. This is exactly what they're doing, right?
Not telling you which people had actual contact with Epstein and which ones were just mentioned in passing. They're not providing any context whatsoever. They are throwing hundreds of names at Congress and the American people and saying, here you go, we complied with the law, while knowing full well that this will devolve into a partisan food fight where everyone just tries to weaponize the names on the other side while defending the names on their side. And that's exactly what's happening. Instead of having a serious and much needed conversation about what the DOJ redacted and why, we're arguing about whether Bill Clinton or Donald Trump is worse in the files. Meanwhile, the DOJ gets to pat themselves on the back for transparency while hiding behind privilege claims. And by the way, if you don't believe me, you should, because Pam Bondi just proved it days ago.
I also found an email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted. And it included notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this.
Know one thing, you maggots, you maggots, y'all better hope that Florida, West Palm Beach, former sheriff do not speak out. Y'all better hope he don't speak out. It's gonna put the president in some hot always gonna put it's gonna put him in some hot mess. If that West Palm Beach sheriff speak out, it's over with. It's over with.
This to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege. There is no attorney-client privilege, and I see your Jeffrey Epstein. Notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege, there is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you
were
unredact
lead
this?
counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged.
Yeah, like why are you redacting the people who are directly involved, right? Why are you redacting the people names and emails who are directly involved, right, in this case? Right? We know Donald Trump's name appears over, thousands and thousands of times. We know that. So why you got to redact any information from him, right? If there's some information in there that could possibly help the case or really be damaging to if he's done something that everyone is accusing him of, right? Why would you redact information that could bring justice to the president. Why would you redact that information? But you redact that information that has his name on it, but you don't redact the victim's information. You don't redact the survivor's information. You put their phone numbers out there, their home addresses. You put all of these things out there about these victims, but you can't even put a simple email out between Maxwell and Jeffrey with Donald Trump's name in the context. You can't. You got to redact that email. Why? Why? What did they say? What was said? Why you got to redact that? Come on. Come on. That was a beautiful question. That was a beautiful question. Let's go back. Let's listen to it again. Listen to it. I love this. Just just look at that email. Look at that email on the screen. Just look at that paper. That big old black box right there. Why did they redact all of that information, y'all? Why? What was said in that email? Was it that damaging? Really? Transparency. Oh, transparency. Hit that like button, chat. Get that like, get the likes up. Get the likes up. Get the likes up.
About his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege, there is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you
were
unredact
lead
this?
counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged, of course. I look forward to discussing this more.
Could the DOJ release it? Yes. Will they? Clearly not. And the same goes with this list. Could they break it down into actual co-conspirators and those who have a fleeting mention in the files? Of course. Will they? Well, they didn't, so I guess that's our answer. Also, as far as Pam Bondi erroneously claiming
Bye, Danny. Have a good day, Danny. Good to see you as always.
privilege is concerned, what this is simple. The concept of privileged information is being weaponized to hide information that the American people have a right to see. The deliberative process privilege that's supposed to protect internal government discussions so that officials can speak freely, but it's been expanded to cover basically any internal communication, even if it's about whether to prosecute powerful people connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Work products privilege, same deal. It's supposed to protect attorney strategy, but it's being used to shield information about immunity deals and non-prosecution agreements. A process that is supposed to protect the sanctity of the law is instead being used to flout the law. Surprise, surprise. And then, of course, the DOJ explicitly states that no materials were redacted or withheld based on embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government officials, public figures, or foreign dignitaries. Great. So they're not protecting anyone's reputation except, oh wait, they are protecting information under privilege that just so happens to involve communications about decisions to charge, not charge, investigate, or decline to investigate Epstein or his associates. So while they're technically not redacting things to protect reputations, they are redacting the very information that would reveal whether powerful people got preferential treatment. You see the game that's being played here? The DOJ releases this list to create the appearance of transparency. Look, we're not hiding any names, while simultaneously hiding all the information that would actually tell us what those names mean.
Exactly. I couldn't have broke it down better than what he did. I couldn't have broke it down better than how he did. He is exactly right. He is exactly right. This is not transparency at all. It's not. It's not.
And meanwhile, they want all of us fighting about Trump or Clinton being in the list, hoping that this devolves into the usual D versus R fight, and therefore completely missing the point that the real scandal is what the DOJ is hiding about co-conspirators, immunity deals, non-prosecution agreements, and preferential treatment for the rich and powerful men who are contained within this scandal. The exact thing that all of these people ran on doing during the campaign, in case you'd forgotten.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is I mean, there's
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
You wondering why we're not hearing more about this Epstein case? I mean, the guy was only connected to just about every major player in the swamp internationally, and yet you don't hear much about it. And what the hell are they hiding with Jeffrey Epstein?
So here's my message. Do not fall for the red herring. This list means nothing without context, and the DOJ knows that. They are counting on partisan tribalism to distract us from asking the real questions. Do not let them get away with it.
Brian.
Before you go,
Brian Cohen, man, you broke that down. Beautiful, bro. You broke that down. What's up, JC? What's going on, JC? Brian, you broke that down beautifully, man. I couldn't have broke it down better than what you did, brother. But that was Brian Tyler Cohen, big YouTuber. How can anyone take cross-eyed cash? Seriously, why doesn't he have glasses? Don't you wear glasses when your eyes are crossed? What's up, Sarah? How are you? How are you? All right. All right.
I think what's startling for a lot of people when they're looking at these documents, because
this is a expert, human trafficking expert, accuses DOJ of trying to shield the Epstein files. This is a human trafficking expert. She wanted to speak out on this. Hit that like button, chat. We're almost at 30 likes. Hit that like button. Thank you for being here.
as I'm sure the people who were writing these emails, they never thought they were going to see the light of day, right? And now we're seeing their communications, their interactions. We're seeing how deep these relationships were. When some of these people publicly, they said one thing, they distanced themselves from Epstein. Now we're seeing a different story come to light here. And it really feels like for a lot of people that the elite who are mentioned in this believe that they are operating on a different playing field than the rest of the world, really. And you mentioned that that hearing that Attorney General Pam Bondi was in. She was testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee earlier this week. It was very fiery when the Epstein files were brought up. And during one moment, Congressman Jamie Raskin, he said to Bondi, "You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice." He went on to say this: "You redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress." Do you agree with him there? Do you think you would go as far to say that the DOJ is running a cover-up when it comes to these Epstein documents?
Yeah, I mean, this is a completely unique circumstance. I mean, this is one trial and one case in which Congress passed a law to say we want transparency behind this particular file. And while the Department of Justice or law enforcement may have normal methods of what becomes public and what doesn't, this is completely different. There has been such a public outcry. In fact, Trump ran and said that he would release the Epstein files. And now it looks like the whole purpose of getting there was to actually shield him. And so when Congressman Raskin says that Congress had said in this particular...
Yeah, it was detected from the beginning, right? It was, they knew eventually that this stuff was going to come back around at some point. So what they had to do, they had to they had to come up with a game plan. You know, oh yeah, 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 we'll release the files. Ah, transparency, right? We'll release them to make it look like, um, he don't have anything to really do with it. But really, that was the playbook from the beginning. That was the play from the jump. The jump was to make it look like you had nothing to do with it. Yeah, we're gonna release the files, and maybe the American people will be like, oh yeah, he released the files, so see, he had nothing to do with it. You got what you wanted. You got what you wanted. Meanwhile, there's thousands of redactions everywhere.
Particular case, you must release the entire file and by a date certain. That is completely unique. The entire nation, the entire public, both Republican and Democrat, said that this one case needs to be put out there for the purpose of the transparency of healing not only what has happened to the victims, but how Epstein represents the whole case, represents the entire nation trying to move towards protecting children. And so I've seen my Republican colleagues often jump up and down about what they think are in books and libraries or school activities claiming to protect children. But now that it looks like it's Trump and his inner circle that is what's being named in these files, they are going beyond to try to continue to shield it. And that goes straight to the Attorney General. It's appalling. The Attorney General and the Department of Justice is supposed to represent the United States and each and every citizen, not the elected president. The job is to serve us.
Ooh, say that again. Say that again. Hold up, I don't think it. Say it loud for the person in the back. Say it loud for the person in the back. Hold on. Run that back.
And the Department of Justice is supposed to represent the United States and each and every citizen, not the elected president. The job is to serve us, not him.
What we're learning from the materials that have been released is that Epstein had relationships around the world. He was well.
Damn, because it damn sure seemed like Christy Nome, Pam Bondi. It definitely seemed like they are focused more on appeasing to Donald Trump and pleasing Donald Trump rather than pleasing the American people. That's what it seemed like.
Connected with the rich and the powerful around the globe. And since these Epstein files came out, there's been fallout worldwide. And I was talking to a guest earlier this week about that fallout and how other countries are handling it. And I was speaking with an English historian, and we were talking about how Prime Minister Keir Starmer's job was threatened earlier this week because of what was revealed about someone that he appointed to the UK ambassador to the US. And Starmer never even met Epstein ever in his life, never had a relationship with him, yet his job was on the line. The king also indicated that the royal family would cooperate into an investigation into his little brother, the former Prince Andrew. Some of the people mentioned in these files have faced questions since the nature of their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was revealed. Some have faced personal and professional consequences. However, most have not. So do you think that the United States is doing enough to hold people accountable? What do you think needs to be done here?
I mean, I think there has been public outcry, but I think as a nation, you have a choice right now. You can either stand with the victims or you can stand with Trump. And that seems to be the clear divide here. And so the victims are telling you that there are individuals who have not yet been held to account. They are telling you that they were raped by men in power, that they want the world to know and hold them accountable. And you are seeing the world respond in a way to hold people that are accountable. And let's be clear, co-conspirator doesn't mean witness necessarily, doesn't mean person of interest. That means somebody that they found is part of a crime. And there are obviously going to be people that may have committed crimes that have not been prosecuted. And there may just be people that were witnesses. You don't know that distinction or that difference until these files actually come out. And the fact that Pam Bondi and those at the Department of Justice are doing everything that they can to seemingly redact the information on Trump's inner circle when they are at the seat of American power, that should frighten everybody. The election should about transparency, integrity, and releasing those files. And it sure does look like it became the greatest opportunity for them to cover it up. And so I am grateful that the women are holding strong, that with everything that is happening to them right now, they continue to doggedly say that this victim population